My friends, are you sick and tired of comparing yourself to the Joneses? Well, make sure to stay tuned and watch this video. Hello my friends, and welcome to The Simple Sober Life. I am Joshua and I help others make simple changes to create a life of awesome. So I don't know about you, but I have always been absolutely relentless in comparing myself to others. And I remember it even when I was really young. I would watch movies or flip through magazines, watch some TV, and I would always compare myself to the rich and famous lifestyles that were presented on TV. Or I would see actors and I'd kind of idolize them and put them up on a pedestal because of the life I thought they had. I saw all the parties that they went to, and I saw all the red carpet events and all the awards that they went to. And I saw the money that was rolling in and the houses that they would live in and the vacations that they would take. And I would constantly compare myself to what I perceived they had and what I perceived as being this lavish and fantastic life that, I felt like I deserved. I felt like it should be my life. And so I would compare myself over and over and over again. But it wouldn't stop at just the actors or the famous people in magazines and in movies. I would compare myself to people who in my high school, people who maybe had a swimming pool, or, they drove a nicer car than I did, or, their parents would take them on vacations or things like that. I would be constantly comparing my life to theirs. And, it kind of made me develop a complex as to, I'm not good enough for anything, and it really would get me down because I would obsess about this. And, I've always been in pursuit of money in order to obtain that lifestyle. But what I'm finding out in now that I'm kind of maturing and whatnot, growing in sobriety, is that I don't need to compare myself to other people. And in fact, comparing myself to someone can actually be dangerous. Now, I grew up, we were maybe lower to middle class. I remember we had spaghetti a lot. We had SOS quite a bit. And if you don't know what that is, it's shit on the shingles. And it's basically a cream gravy with hamburger over toast. We would have that quite a bit. Chili, we had quite a bit. And, we didn't take any vacations when I was younger. I didn't have designer clothes until I actually got a job and started, buying my own clothes. All of our cars were used cars. So I thought that I was less than because I would compare myself to all these other people, whether they be famous or just in high school. But like I said, comparing myself to someone can actually be dangerous. Not only is it a substantial waste of time, think about all of the time that you have spent, just kind of comparing yourself to someone else based on what they have. I don't know about you, but I've spent hours, maybe not consecutively, but periodically throughout the week, it probably would have totaled a couple of hours, just wishing I had someone else's life or wishing that I had someone else's, lifestyle. In addition to wasting time, it's a huge detriment to one's mental health. I mean, every time that I would compare myself to someone else, it would make me feel less and less about myself. And so, it got to the point where, I couldn't even look in the mirror because I felt so worthless. And it's all based on a facade. It's based on what I perceive someone as being. What I base their entire happiness on what they physically have. And that's false. It's not, there's no truth in the perception that I put onto other people when I compare myself to them. It's craziness. And not only that, not only does it hurt you mentally, but it can also hurt you financially. I have literally spent thousands and thousands of dollars on trying to buy the right clothes, the right shoes, eating at the right places, going to the right clubs, drinking the right booze, cars and things like that. Thousands of dollars down the drain because I was comparing myself to other people. And I wanted to put on that persona of, I'm just as good as you. Look what I have. And all I was really doing was putting on a mask and, covering up everything else that, I had inside. The hurt that I'd gone through and the hurt that I was inflicting on other people. And I tell you what, the more I compared myself to other people, the more stuck up and pretentious I got. And I just started becoming not a nice person. And so I started hurting other people around me, belittling them and putting them down just to make myself feel better because I was comparing myself to other people. Now, in sobriety, I'm finally starting to let that go, and I have been for a while now, and I'm so much more comfortable with myself now, and I'm happy with where I am, and I'm happy with the journey that I get to go on, because now I can take that comparison and I can actually put it into action and create new goals for myself. And it can give me inspiration to achieving those goals. So if you have a hard time with comparing yourself to other people, there are a couple of things that you can do. And one of the biggest things that I have found that has helped me, kind of limit the amount of time I waste comparing myself to others is becoming more aware. When I flip through magazines and I see someone walking down the red carpet in a suit or, some couture, then, and I'm like, oh, gosh, they must have the best life. I would love to have that life. I want to be on the red carpet. It's my turn. I can stop and I can look around and I can name 3 things that I'm grateful for at that moment right there. I'm so grateful that I was able to put down the bottle and, start this new path. I'm so grateful for the family that I have that has been so supportive through this process, and the friends that have come out of the woodwork to show support for me. I'm so grateful that, I have a job that I'm able to spend money, or I'm able to save more money and, work towards the larger goals that I want to do in building this simple, sober life up. I'm so grateful that, I am able to put down into words, what I've gone through so that I might be able to help other people. I'm so grateful. And that helps tremendously. It helps me realize that the place I'm at isn't so bad and that I have such a cool journey ahead of me. Something else that I've been able to do is start to understand that what they put on the outside, the mansions and the cars and the vacations and things like that, don't necessarily reflect how happy they are. You know, I have known some very, very wealthy people who were absolutely miserable. Them and their partner never spoke. They worked 18 hours a day at a job that they hated. And they had all this stuff. They were able to take vacations, but they hated life. And, you know, they didn't surround themselves with people that they trusted, people that they loved. They were always kind of on guard about who was going to take advantage of them. That's a pretty miserable way to live, in my opinion. But just understanding that the facade, the mortar, the brick and mortar that they put around themselves is not a reflection of who they are or how happy they are in the least bit, has helped quite tremendously, you know, curve that comparison factor for me. Another thing that I've been able to do once in a while is take a media break. You know, we're inundated all day long through social media, through television, through movies, about the lifestyles that we should be living. And it's all fake. I worked in Hollywood. I know, everything's fake in Hollywood. Trust me, there's not a real thing in Hollywood. And, you know, being able to take that break, that mental break, just shutting out the world and focusing on, you know, what I want to do and, you know, what makes me happy and, you know, being able to give back helps out so much. I'm not going to say I'm completely cured, because I am definitely not. But you know, it really helps calm the wave of comparison. And you know, when I do get into those comparison modes, like you know, a coworker of mine just got 14 grand back from his tax refund, and there's no way that I'm getting anywhere close to that. I start comparing myself. Oh, gosh, I wish I was getting 14 grand back. Do you know what I could do with 14 grand right now? Well, here's the thing. He also has 4 kids. Comparison gone. Comparison gone. Because I do not want to have to claim 4 kids, because that means I would have to take care of them, and I am not about to do that. All right, whew, that is out. So, I'm sorry I went on that little thing. But yes, it has nothing to do with the media thing, sorry. But it kind of popped in my head. So cutting myself off for a limited time from all media outlets, you know, just, you know, focusing on creating my videos, focusing on the work that I'm doing, and, you know, writing. I'm fortunate enough to be able to, I'm writing a book. And so, you know, throwing myself in there has really helped. But also volunteering and spending time with people who are less fortunate. There is nothing that will take that obsession to compare away quicker than working and helping someone who's less fortunate. And, you know, I had to do this as a term of my probation. You know, I've worked in soup kitchens, I've worked in collecting books, I've worked in, you know, doing a number of different things for community service hours. But I've also, volunteered my time with people who have lost limbs. And, I've worked with kids who have been abused. I've worked with, a number of other people who are, all in all, I guess, who have a harder hit in life than I do, who, struggle on a daily basis just to put food on the table. That is a humbling experience, and that will eliminate all comparison thinking, at least until you get back into the mainstream world. But humbling yourself to volunteer and work with someone less fortunate is a surefire way to get your mind out of that comparison mode and into creating a life of awesome for yourself. I hope you got value out of this. If you did, please make sure to comment down below. How do you get out of that comparison thinking? I would love some more tips and tricks on how to do that, because I'm constantly trying to evolve and help myself and hopefully help others in the meantime. Also, give this video a big old thumbs up and subscribe. Hit that bell when you subscribe so you get notified each time I create a video, and I will talk to you soon. Take care, my friends.